This is Real Race Talk from Texas. It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Rock and roll.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful live edition of the Revved Up Sports Show on Monday evening, Monday afternoon, Monday night, depending on where you are, all across this great nation of ours. Showtime Bobby Chaffee right here. The Iceman Rodney Rodriguez. That's that man right over there pressing the buttons. As we both press buttons to try to make sure this show gets on the air.
Yeah, man. And that's the one thing that I did want to talk about as we dive into the show, because we have a great show. Chris Davidson coming up here in just a little bit. And then we're going to talk to Chris Workman, Jake Wright, a really good show. But I see a lot of folks that always want to piss and moan about some of the streaming stuff that goes wrong. I don't know who all may have watched the NASCAR race yesterday, but they had like epic fails on that. Did you see that?
I did.
I mean, it was radio was down, Fox was down, everything was down. It was not a racetrack problem. It was a problem with
provider or something.
Connectivity.
Yeah.
Connectivity. And that's where so many times it that's how all this stuff runs these days. I mean, it's not you know, I always see things to where yesterday it was like, well, NASCAR failed again. Well, no, that's not their problem. they and this is where we go back to, you know, different places that you want to race. If you want to race in the backwoods, connectivity may be a problem.
Yeah, in some places
Could be a problem.
Yeah.
It should not be a problem in St. Louis, but it was, and that's part of the gig right here. And I just thought that yesterday that was kind of one of those things to where, you know, I know people beat up on Flow, and not so much Flow, but Racing America.
More racing. Let's just be honest. It happens a little more frequently on Racing America.
It's always Racing America. And the whole thing is, I mean, even with Race on Texas, you know, our partners here, it's like, oh, my God, the stream quit. Well, you know, it's out of our hands most of the time. And hell,
and they send us the message like, "Hey, it's broke. I can't fix it myself right now. I'm not." It
was so funny the other day at Heart of Texas. We were doing a 2-camera show, and I was talking to one of the guys there running the cameras, and he's like, "Man, I know they're going to beat me up about this." I'm like, "Dude, doesn't matter. I mean, you do your job. I mean, people are going to piss and moan about everything, but it happens." It happens to everyone, even Fox, even the big Fox, man. It's connectivity. Everything runs on this imaginary wireless thing,
cloud,
right?
Whatever. This unique network.
That's the thing. I mean, right now, this show, we were trying to get on, and we have like 3 different, online systems that we try to pull this off on. 2 didn't work, but here we are. It worked out.
Finally, that's good. Well, I shouldn't say finally. We weren't offline that long.
Are you kidding me? We were 45 seconds late. Yeah. And if you guys want to bitch about 45 seconds late, turn your shit off, because we don't want to have you on here. I'm just kidding. But so a good race weekend. Man, it sucks right now in Texas. We seem to be in a spot right now where more tracks are getting rained out than we actually race, and I hate that.
It does seem that way, especially for our good buddy KR. Another rain out at Arklatex.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough. I don't know what they need to do some anti-rain dancing out there, or do some voodoo on that clay up there. They got to do something, because it seems like they've got one race out of like 15 in up there thanks to all that rain.
Yeah, it gets really hard. I mean, because you never know. I mean, it seems like, and we all know this in Texas and this region, it hits you and boom, there it is. I mean, you never saw it coming. And that seems to be the hardest part of, doing that for racetracks. But I do want to talk about it. I want to go to the Revved Up. I want to talk about Russ Toe. And Russ Toe is Revved Up topic of the week. And this one came up a bunch this weekend. I heard a lot of folks asking me about this from different racetracks. Downtime at the racetrack. How do you keep the audiences, and I'm saying audiences, two, because you have the folks there and the folks checking in, streaming. How do you keep them engaged? Because I know Friday night at Waco, there were so many different things that were going on there, and I had folks blowing me up, and it's like, what are you doing here? I mean, what's going on? How do you do this? What's the secret key here to keep people engaged?
Well, I think it's harder at a local level than it is at the national level, just strictly because there's so many things you can do. Although, granted, the local level doesn't tend to wait the 30 minutes for a lightning delay. Well, local football does, because we've been in plenty of broadcasts where we've had to wait on a delay for football. But most of your local short tracks, if it ain't raining and if it ain't pouring, little lightning, they don't care. They just roll with it. So that's how you keep the downtime from going, is you don't have any downtime. I think one of the saving graces for the Cup race on Sunday yesterday was that there was an IndyCar race on at the exact same time that was going head to head with the Cup race.
Yeah.
So, and then the fact that the carryover, they had the NHRA with the TV coverage for the New England Nationals, as we were just looking up just now, it looks like it rained on them all weekend and canceled all their racing. So, kind of worked out in the favor of the Cup Series, despite the 4-hour delay there. But TV time worked out just fine. So
but going back to being at the track. I mean, to me, that's the hardest part, because it's like when it's like awkward silence. I mean, what do you do? I mean, you can only tell jokes or do whatever. And I know a lot of different folks do what they do, to. I don't know. I mean, that's the hard part for me. The old school fans are going to hang around. They're going to sit there. They're going to sit and wait. But so many different people seem to get annoyed at times, because it's like, okay, I mean, entertain me. Like I say on that one thing, entertain me. What do I do now? Nothing is happening. And again, that sucks for the promoter or the operator, because I mean, what do you do? I mean, how do you keep people engaged? I mean, that's hard. That's really hard.
Well, I mean, I think it is. It's kind of like keeping people engaged on like a Zoom call nowadays, right? There's so many different avenues at home, but your live crowd, what I have noticed now is that your hardcore fans are the ones that are there live.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, believe it or not, you have a certain, streaming wise, you have a certain amount of hardcore fans that stream, but a lot of the streaming numbers are more replay numbers with racers watching their race over so they can see it again.
Yep.
But I think that your casual fan is the one that they show up, but not near as much. You're starting to see a few more casual fans start to get onto this streaming thing where they don't leave the house. They just watch it. I mean, it's not a good thing for our friends at Race on Texas. I mean, I guess it's good they get a new subscriber, but at the same time, the track may kind of lose out, because they're like, well, I don't have to just sit here and watch one race from Texas. I can watch, 4 or 5 of them.
Right.
And so I think that becomes a challenge. But your hardcore race fans are the ones that are at the racetrack. They're the ones there when the gates open at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones there sitting through the rain, the sun, the heat, ice, all that good stuff. Those people are going to be there regardless, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's February. They sat through some ice storms. So
yeah.
But those are going to be there. Your hardcore race fans are always going to be there. I think where we have to determine what to do at the downtime are the people when the casual fans show up. Like, like with yesterday in the Cup race, there was a lot of stuff to do on the midway, but your casual fan that hadn't been in a long time is like, and most of the fans were, pretty blue skies there for a little bit with a 2-hour delay.
Well, and that was the thing, yesterday. I saw a bunch of folks, lightning delay. Come on. What is this? Man, that right now.
Aluminum grandstands and lightning just don't go together.
That, right. I mean, I've, like you said, I mean, with football, I see that all the time. I mean, that is the way that you do it now. That is part of that's the new normal. I mean, you have to do that. I mean, you can't be out there doing that. I mean, I know back in the day, I mean, we'd sit out there and we'd race, and we fucking sleet coming down, and we'd race. I mean, that was the old days. I mean, we just can't do that, and I think that's kind of the disconnect right now, as to where, well, we always did that. I mean, I
No
know.
one necessarily the safest.
I don't care. I personally don't care. I'll sit out there and watch a race, and I'll call a race, and I'll call a football game, and I don't care. But it's just not safe anymore, and it's a different world these days. I mean, we can't do that anymore. Everything is so different, and it's not a matter of being woke versus whatever. It's we have to be more diligent.
It's okay to be a little bit more on the safety side.
I mean, to do the things that we used to do. I mean, think about the things that we used to do. I mean,
we'd race right up to the last minute till the rain started coming.
Are you kidding me? I mean, I remember being in Kyle leading a race in the street stocks, and man, I couldn't hold the groove because it was so wet out there, and they just let me win. And that was before I was a race announcer. But it's way different. It's way different.
Yeah, they were probably trying to get to the halfway point in the show, so they didn't have to give. They didn't have to give the rain checks.
The rain check, and that's right. You guys can jump on if you want. Right there, the number's there. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Nobody ever has a thought. Everybody's
opinionated to actually call for it.
Everybody always has a thought until we let them have a thought.
Yeah, it's kind of like the kids are only sick when they're at home. When you take them to the doctor, they ain't sick no more.
Yeah, that's right. But, I mean, it really does come down to, I mean, for the racetracks, I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, it's, and that's where we go back to, it's a lot of downtime. And I go back to this because with Waco this weekend, you know, they were doing the meet and greet and everything going on out there. And then they had to rework the racetrack. And we lost an hour and 20 minutes. That's a long damn time, dude. If I hadn't been working, I'd have left.
Your hardcore fans were still there. That's the ones you know were the hardcore ones.
I know. They hung around. But it's crazy.
Well, I guess the same thing happened at Cotton Bowl on Memorial Day weekend, trying to rework the track or rut or something else. That's the one thing you got to love about asphalt racing. You don't have to worry about the ruts.
Well, but that's a funny thing. I mean, you ask the dirt track folks, and they're like, wow, you know, asphalt sucks. You got to be there all day. I'm like, okay. So I don't know, whatever. We'll deal with that. Let's go to the hotline. Talking to one of our good friends here, and I just love this guy. I love his family. I love his dad. I mean, I wanted to be his dad for the longest time. He's been on this show in the past, but once again, having a great impact on racing in the state of Texas. It is my man, Christopher Davidson. Chris, how we doing, man?
We're doing excellent, Rodney. How about you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. So, Chris, I do want to talk with you about this. So, first, your racing. What all do you have in store for the rest of the year, man?
We're going to be hit or miss.
Yeah.
Schedule's going to be kind of sporadic. We're real busy at work, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So concentrating on that, but like normal, just going to go find some fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
You might be surprised here in a couple weeks.
Oh, there's an outlaw. No, I'm just here. Speaking of outlaw, before we get too started, how's your dad doing, man? We hadn't got a chance to catch up with Greg in a hot minute. How's he doing so far?
That's right.
He's doing real good. Still goes 100 miles an hour from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed. So I just pray I have that much energy when I get to be there.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That is for damn sure. So, Chris, I do want to talk about, I mean, for you and me and a lot of guys that do this, you being a part, and Davidson Electric being a part of now what's going on there with H&P and Owen, talk about that involvement. I think it's so much, you know, we shared a text. It's just old dudes just trying to keep this thing going.
Yeah, I think look, no secret. We have the same conversation every time, right? Tracks are dying left and right.
Yep.
So I've been trying to do what little bit that I can to help where I can. I talked to Owen. Seemed like a good thing to do. So here we are, right? Not rocket science, just let's try to support what we have left.
Well, it seems like it's a good fit, though, for Davidson, just as a sponsorship as a whole, because it'll be fun entertaining the new fans. I know Rodney's going to do a great job about, you know, we had this conversation about hardcore fans and regular fans. The hardcore fans that have been asphalt fans forever are going to instantaneously recognize the Davidson Electric tying in to especially asphalt racing for sure. But it's going to be fun to teach the new fans about, you know, there's a reason why Davidson's involved, because they've been involved in all aspects of racing for years. So I think the fit was a good fit with the Outlaws, because, you know, they've got the late models in there, are trying to build that class, and that's a class that you're passionate about, as we've talked over the years about it. So I think that it's a good fit, and I'm glad to see you came on board. As just like you always say, you know, you're just supporting, you know, the classes while it's there.
Yeah, it's we know the biggest thing with racing, whether you're the track, the racer, whoever, is sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
So we're found a small opportunity to participate, and I like racing. I like watching racing, right? Everybody wants to talk about NASCAR. I can't tell you what happened on Sunday because I don't watch it, unfortunately. Short track racing in general, I don't care the surface. I just want to see a good race. Well, for people to be able to see good races, there has to be cars and fans and a track, which requires sponsorship, right? So I know there's been a tremendous amount of work put in by everybody trying to keep that place going for an extended period of time. So where we're at now, it just kind of seemed like a good opportunity. And yeah, I like anything that goes in circles, but definitely any type of late model definitely piques my interest.
Yeah, that's right. And Chris, I think you hit the nail on the head right there, my man. It really comes down to, you know, with the market there with Houston. I mean, with the history and everything, and the different folks. I mean, there have been a lot of folks that have kept this thing going. I think that we're doing well, and I go back to you on Lost Speedways, to where, you know, you sitting in turn one at San Antonio, talking about how that was sickening to you, that was that. I mean, we come back and we still have a chance. And I think that's really the underlying thing here that we need to look at.
No, you're 100% correct, because we used to be blessed with a plethora of racetracks, right? We could pick and choose where we wanted to race. Well, if you're in the great state of Texas, you want to race on something that's not a dirt surface.
Yeah.
You have one opportunity, right? Or several opportunities per year at one location. So I think that anybody who has even a remote amount of care for circle track or short track asphalt racing should be doing everything they can to support what we have left, right? And that's HMP. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, Chris, what do you want to say to as somebody that's a diehard racer like you are and the family is? What is it that it takes? Do we need to say or do anything to get some of these guys with these cars that are in mothballs? Not so much the ones that are in the yard rotting away, but I mean, you know, some of these guys keep some of these super stocks and these late models and different cars. They keep them in the garage. You know, they get dust on them. What's it going to take to get some of these guys and gals to dust these things off and get them back to a racetrack?
Man, if I had the answer to that question, I would have solved the problem a long time ago, right? Only thing I can say is people that love racing are going to race regardless of what class, where, how much it costs, how competitive you're going to be. They're going to show up and race because they're racers, right? There's always a guy that shows up and he'll run mid to back of the pack every week for decades.
Yep.
And he loves it, right? So it takes all of them because that guy loves the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who has these cars you're speaking of. I'm not in the loop on that. But definitely, if they're even remotely raceable, take them off the jack stand, show up once, right? Mm-hmm. Everywhere has car count issues. Most places, I won't say everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's what fans come to see. Now, you can get a great race with a small field of cars.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's possible. And so I think that it's just a matter of the guys that have the cars in mothballs, either sell them, make them a boat anchor, or bring them to the track, right? Yeah. Give somebody else the opportunity to race that car.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Chris, I would love your thoughts. I know that, you know, there's a lot of back and forth about, you know, with stock classes and a factory stock or a Crown Vic or whatever. Your thoughts? I mean, we all started out in those bombers. whatever it is.
Mhm.
And now we got the bootleggers out there in Houston. I mean, what is the answer there, in your opinion, having done this and been to the top echelon of watching all this? How do you get a stock class to get folks a big car? How do you get folks back into this?
Get the racers to get out of their own way, right? So racers are their own worst enemy.
No doubt.
Somebody figures out an advantage and it's a different part or a borderline illegal, but basically it doesn't matter. It costs money. So we have these air quote stock classes that aren't stock, but the intent is there, right?
Yep.
And then over time, every single one of them goes from some kind of bomber stock car, and the parts get fancier, the parts get more expensive. The racers that win get fewer, and those few guys are happy.
Yeah.
Well, then what do you have? You have dwindling car count, right? When you have I wouldn't even call that an entry-level class, but
No.
that's what a lot of people look at it as, even though it's not, right? And I think that it pays big dividends to drive something big, heavy on a small tire that doesn't handle well to create car control, right?
Yeah, man.
You know, if the first thing a 15-year-old sits in is a super late model that's perfect, he's probably not, he can still end up being a real good racer, right? Some of them start off that way.
Sure.
But I think there's something to be said for, let's at least start them off in something like that, even if it's for a short period of time, and then get the bulk of the money out of those classes, right? Well, how do you do that? It's the rules and the tech, because the rules are only as good as the tech. So slippery slope, double-edged sword, however you want to phrase it, and it's been going on forever, right? When was the first car race? As soon as the second one was built.
Yep.
So, so here we have racers. We are our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
From a bunch of different angles, right? But specifically as it relates to rules and cost of race.
Every damn time.
Happens all the time. You see them like a factory stock. They're spending $30,000 for a race that pays $5,000 to win, right? It's kind of for something that's nothing more than a street stock.
Yeah.
So Chris, in your mind, so it sounds like, as much as we love late models and everything else, it sounds like we need to put as much emphasis on a affordable entry-level class to get the people out of the grandstands, get drivers back in race cars, as we do with the late models, right? I mean, it's obviously it's a balance of the ecosystem. So, I mean, it sounds like we need to put as much emphasis on getting an entry-level class as we do, a V8 stock class, so to speak, versus the V8 late models, right? I mean, it's not, we shouldn't push one over the other. It should be the whole ecosystem that we're trying to push, right?
I think you put all of the emphasis on every class but what people consider the top tier, right? For the most of the South and Southeast, late models are not a weekly show. In the Midwest, they are, right? That's different up there. It's a whole different lifestyle. It's amazing. I wish it was like that here, but it's not, right? So let's forget about late models. You want to run a late model? Cool. There's plenty of touring series that can come through and have a late model race. Let's focus on the guys who want to race often, close to home, and those classes, like you said, those are the ones that need the support. Traveling late model guys, for the most part, can afford what they're doing or they wouldn't be doing it, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got guys, I mean, the greater Houston area is what, 4-6 million people?
At least.
There's plenty of money. There's plenty of sponsors. Just a matter of seeking them out, getting their attention, and getting them to contribute. I'm by no means a marketing guy, so I don't know the answer to that question. I do know, however, in a fourth largest city in the nation, the money's here. So I think racers generally sit around and wait for the money to come to them, which we all know rarely, if ever, happens.
Never.
And I do want to ask you, Chris, I mean, with the Outlaws right there, and I mean, you guys sponsoring the Outlaw division, and we are racing this Saturday. To me, that's a kick-ass class. I mean, that looks like what your dad used to race back in the 80s and all that. I mean, I grew up watching those cars. with that, with the SRL Sportsman trying to level all of that out, I mean, I really think that this is and I know here in Texas it's tricky because you have the super stocks and all this other stuff. I really think that this is a class that could that can bloom if handled correctly, like you're talking about, and sticking to the rules and just having a good baseline on what it's supposed to be.
No, you hit the nail on the head 100% for multiple reasons. But the big one is, in my opinion, is that you can take almost any car, but let's call it any older late model.
Yeah.
Build your own body, right? You might buy a nose. Other than that, you can build the whole thing yourself out
That's
of
the best part.
sheets of aluminum.
Yeah.
You're not buying a several $1,000 composite body. They look cool. The fans like them.
Yeah.
They're faster with that body on the car. The engine combinations are endless. I think you can run just about anything. Then you just go to the track and figure out how to make it work, right? So the barrier for entry from a late model perspective, cost-wise, is significantly lower than any other type of late model that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a really neat class, right? For all those reasons. Plus, they usually put on some really good races.
Yeah, I agree. I love when I'm calling those races. I love to say it. It's a long nose and a big ass. I mean, what else do you need? I mean that's your race car right there.
Hey,
right?
I wish our race cars looked like that, right?
Yeah,
those look way cooler than what we race.
Yeah. So talk about that. I do want to ask you about that. So the state of that with the supers. I mean, with SRL and ASA and all that. I know there's a lot of back and forth and competition and all that. But how are we doing here? We're about halfway through this year. It's tricky. It's tricky.
It is, and I'll say the racers. Not only do they have options,
mm-hmm.
they have good options.
That's right.
If you want to go to a track that you've never been to, well, pick one of those two series. You'll be able to find plenty of places you've probably never been and have the level of competition that is similar to a derby type weekend, right? And you can be anywhere from coast to coast, north to south. So geography is not really an issue. It's a little bit more of a struggle for some of the West Coast guys. You can race anywhere you want. The rules are almost identical.
Yep.
If not.
Yep.
So they all seem to be paying well. So, I mean, as a late model racer, if you want to go somewhere or do something you haven't done, I'd say it's relatively healthy, right? And I hope we get to the backside of this and I still have the same opinion. Because right now, I'd say it's going well.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. So where are you going to be next, my man? When do we see that 14 car on the track once again?
The next time that 14 car will be on the track will be at the SRL National Race at I-44 at the end of the month.
Lebanon. Yeah. It's
Yes,
going to be a good one. Going to be a good one. Looking forward to that. And I am taking you up one of these weekends. I'm going to go be your pit person and go do something with you guys.
Just let me know when we go to one of those trips way up north where it's nice and cool in August. Nice. That'd be a good one to go to.
Yeah.
You gotta move Shane Turner out of the way, Rodney. You gotta move Shane out of the way.
Yeah, video guy.
Yeah, as long as you're a fan of Seattle, we can do that.
Yeah, that's right. So, are you going to be at HMP on Saturday? You coming out?
Unfortunately, no. I've had a vacation scheduled for a while, so I will be out of the country in Belize.
He's like, y'all have at it.
I will be supporting from afar.
That's good. Race on Texas.
Race on Texas works in Belize.
Yep. You can check in, my man. Chris,
absolutely.
You are the man, dude. Thanks for jumping on here. Thanks for, for what you're doing. I mean, you are an ambassador. I mean, you do this stuff and you do it for the right reasons. You love it. And man, without guys like you, we'd be in a hell of a mess, my brother.
Well, I appreciate that, but it takes all parts, right? And you guys do a good job of spreading the word. So keep doing what you're doing and don't quit.
You got it. All right, dude. Enjoy your time off, and let's stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
You bet. Take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. There he goes. How about that? that's the people you need on your side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great fit. The Davidson Electric Outlaws, it's a great fit. They just those Outlaws. If you watch it, because I got a chance to sit in the stands and watch it the other day, or the last race out, and I did some math and I looked, and Robert Barker was faster than the modifieds in that number 17 Outlaw. He was the fastest damn car on the property. And it didn't look like he was really trying all that hard in a couple of restarts, but he was smoking their ass. And I'm not anticipating it being any different this weekend.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Like I was saying, I mean, with those cars, I mean, it does draw the people in, like he was talking about right there. I mean, to me, what the Outlaws do, it does allow an older chassis to come in and be relevant. And then I think that's the problem that we've watched for so long, with late models. It's like, okay, I've got this car and now it's outdated. It's obsolete. Well, put your own body on this and do it. And I love that class. And I hope that I always hope that at Mobile that we could pull some of the Pensacola, folks over, but I totally get all of that. But I think they're now with Chris and Davidson Electric, with them being a part of this, I think that this is going to be the thing that kind of knocks it over the hill. I'm hoping.
Well, I think that part of it too is and it's not necessarily in Houston, but even when you get in the Southeast, the purpose-built Outlaws, people kind of shun you away from that. They're like, why the hell do you have a purpose-built, custom-built, Outlaw when there's plenty of old used chassis for pennies on the dollar that people are just wanting to get rid of, whether it be, I mean, we've seen plenty of people replace clips on some of these late models, put the new body on it, and they're just as fast as the purpose-built chassis ones.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love the fact that, the Davidsons in Texas, I think that's a good combination. And I think that's something that, with Chris and Greg and Peggy, all of them being a part of this, I mean, it's just it's good mojo, if anything. I mean, to have that feel, to have that right there, it kind of pulls it together. And I do want to commend Owen, for Owen reached out to me and he's like, "Hey man, I got Chris Davidson in here," and I'm like, "Well, you've done a good thing, because I know, with Gina, we worked with Chris to have him a part of doing this. I mean, that's good dedication right there." And they and the thing is, like with Chris, it's always what I like about with Chris. I know, with the SRL and all that, he was racing in that division, but he doesn't have. I mean, he's not racing an Outlaw, and they're putting money into this, and that's what you need right there when you have that kind of base and you have that kind of foundation of people that are going to do things that help grow the sport. I mean, to me, that's a fucking win. There's no other way to put it. Sorry for the language. There is no other way to put it.
Well, I mean, anytime you get to it's just the notoriety. That's the part of it. Everybody knows that the Davidsons run super late models. Mm-hmm. They've known that for years. From when Greg did it back in the late 70s, early 80s, running all over the country with a badass Castrol painted super late model, or a number 96 somewhere. Whether it was in Houston, whether it was in Austin, Corpus, all the great racetracks we had around here, to tracks in the Southeast, Lanier. And then Chris followed in the footsteps, running all pro and different stuff like that. So, and the Southern All Stars. So it's they're known for their super late model programs, and I think that it's just a really good mix. It's such a natural fit for the Davidsons to be involved in the class that deals with the Outlaw, which is the old super late model chassis and stuff like that. It's the perfect fit.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, the Davidson Electric Outlaws. Yeah. Some of those other sponsors, while they're great in Houston, they're a mouthful.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing, and to tie that in, and I think the problem is there with the asphalt thing in Houston. It's always been, trying to tie in, the notoriety is to make it full circle, and right there with them coming aboard, I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And with what Owen's doing, I think, man, I dare to say things are looking positive.
Oh, it's always good.
I hate to say that, with Houston because things happen, and the whole thing is, with
It's not so much positive as it feels like it finally has a little bit of momentum, which is what it's missing.
It really has a good feel right there, and again, I do want to talk about, I've seen folks talking about, with Raymond Delahousse was the one that jumped in here. He called me, and he's like, Rondé. He always called me that. He could never get my name right. He's like, I'm doing this, and then he passed it on, over to Gina, and I think it's one of those things where it will not go away. It will not go away, and I do think.
Well, hell, it's the last one that's standing without trees in the middle of the straightaway.
Isn't that the messed up part?
I mean, all the rest of them are the only one. I mean, Corpus is half gone. The CC Speedway is half gone.
Well,
granted, it's for sale again. But it's half gone. San Antonio has the trees growing up through the grandstands and going up through the racetrack. Longhorn doesn't exist anymore. Sooner doesn't exist anymore. Twin Cities and Odessa, it doesn't exist anymore. So Houston's legit the only thing that we had left, and that's why we tell people to support it, because it was one of those things to where we never knew how good we had it with all the asphalt tracks we had. Then boom, just with, I guess, that shitty timing, they just all kind of went away at the same time.
Yeah, and that's, I was thinking about that this weekend, as a matter of fact. I mean, you look at that, with all the tracks that we've lost and everything that you mentioned right there. But looking at the dirt side, I mean, look at them. I mean, they are thriving, and that's I mean, look at the regular, weekly tracks. I mean, Devil's Bowl, Kennedale, Heart of Texas, and on off weeks you have a Texana or South or a Race Ranch or whatever. I mean, damn it. Dirt track is made up for all of the heartbreaking things that we're seeing. I-37 this past weekend, I was watching that, and Workman's coming up here in just a minute, but dude, they have their shit together.
It's getting better. I mean, everybody's starting to buy into everybody's program
each and every time, and it's and that's where I go back to the question of the day, because I kept seeing people talk about, well, there's a delay at Heart of Texas or whatever. It's like, okay, well, that's great. That's the least of your problems right now. You have a racetrack. Just hold on. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah. I think it'll be just fine. You're not watching the part of the comments, are you?
No.
Okay, because it's not working properly.
No.
Don't read the message from Alan Alexander, because then you'll get excited.
Oh Lord, what did he say now?
He said for you to bring your suit and you can run the bootlegger.
Oh, Alan, my man! It just so happens that I tried it on the other day, because I'm going to be racing on June the 24th at Texana Raceway Park, and that's that right there. That's turning into a big event. And I'm looking forward to that. But how cool is that? I mean,
it's going to be fun.
I think that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And weather should not be an issue on June 24th, I would think.
It'll be hot, but I mean, don't have to worry about the rain.
No, but it really does come down to you got to support these racetracks, and with the dirt tracks. I mean, folks show up and they're bringing folks out in masses. And like I said, I was watching 37 on Saturday night, and I know the weather jacked that up, but man, a lot of folks in there, a lot of cars. We see it at Kennedale. We see it all up north. To me, north is not an issue, but south, we're kind of catching up here.
You're catching up a little bit. Well, now we got to throw Cotton Bowl in it, because they don't seem to have a car count problem either.
That damn place ain't got no problems.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. That right there, that's like the show palace.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they do nothing wrong, it seems like to me.
Well, they got more stuff right than wrong, but they fill the stands, and they fill the grandstands, and or the pit stands and the pits. So they've got to do something right. It's about buying into the program. They have bought into Marianne and H's vision of what Cotton Bowl should be. It's taken years to get over that way, but they have definitely bought into it. The racers have, in the racing community. So it's a good. I mean, I think you see all these ecosystems. They're all starting to thrive. Everybody's finally buying into what Ray and them are doing down at I-37. You see people are starting to buy into what Owen's trying to build there in Houston, what John started, what Owen's trying to continue. You see that there at Texana, people buying into the vision that Cord has and Owen has down there. The Race Ranch, same thing.
Yep.
You just start to see everybody buying into the vision. It's like, well, it's great when everybody starts rowing the boat the same direction, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I did look there. Double A, I'm taking my stuff, dude. I am taking it. I love what Sonny Hunt said right there. Excuse me. When it comes to pavement, I mean tires. I mean that's the one thing. And again, that's where dirt is whipping asphalt's ass. Because, and I do want to talk to you asphalt people, because I saw different things posted about, what about the practice schedule for this weekend? How about Friday? How early? I thought that we didn't want to be there
all day, much
all
less
day.
2 straight days.
All day. I mean, that's more money. That's more time.
Well, I don't know. If I was going to run a car for the first time and had a chance to be off on Friday, I'd probably take that opportunity up to go race.
Man,
but it's open practice, so you don't get a chance to race. It's almost Is it cost effective to race on Friday night for 4 hours?
I ain't never raced no late model. I ain't never raced no modified. I ain't never raced no truck. But I can tell you one thing: I can go out there for 10 or 15 minutes in my street stock or a dwarf car, whatever it may have been, and I can figure out what the hell I need to do. Especially practicing in the middle of the day for a night race.
No, there's that.
So I was kind of disappointed there that they're kind of beating up on Houston about that, about, hey, how about all this practice? Y'all didn't want to be there all day or all night. And I don't know. I ain't trying to piss nobody off, but that's what you guys and ladies told me many times. I don't want to be there all day. Asphalt sucks. I don't want it to be a 2-day affair.
And yet everybody's asking
well,
for
you
more
don't need to practice
yeah.
on Friday, is the way I see it. And that's the one thing that I have learned from doing some stuff along the Gulf Coast is they don't do that. It's like you get 1 or 2 practices and boom, figure it out. And if it ain't half-assed right by the time you get there, well, maybe you shouldn't race.
Should have spent more time at the shop.
That's right. And, with the dirt stuff, I'm trying to get in here and look at some of that stuff. But, and again, I'm not picking on you asphalt guys. I'm just telling y'all, I mean, I remember the CTS days. Why the hell we got to be there all day Friday? You don't have to be. You're choosing to be there all fucking day. That's you. We are not making you be there. Your race is at 7. You figure out how to work that. Has always been my thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's
right? I mean, I don't know.
It's the asphalt stuff's always kind of been that way for the last 15 or so years.
Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, and dirt people don't be sitting back there laughing because you guys were always like, wow, hell, we ain't got to be there all day. I go to the track and them some bitches are there at noon, waiting to get in to practice at 5.
Yeah, it used to be everybody loaded in about if the gates opened at 5, the people were there at 4:30.
Right. We get there at 6 and we race at 8. Well, that's not exactly what I see when I go there.
Yeah, they're there early. They're there at 4.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Pick your poison. I'm calling you out. We're calling you guys out because y'all watch this show and you love it.
And they can take it.
That's right. And you can be mad if you want. We don't give a shit. Tell us what you think. Y'all stick around. Coming up, there is your... that's your topic there. You guys continue to saturate that one. In a bit, we're talking to Chris Workman, one of the cool dudes that's found his way in this sport.
Sure has.
That's right. Stick around. #Real Race Talk live on a Monday. He's Bobby. I'm Rodney. More coming up.
Revved Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to Victory Lane with Team GRC?
You guys, Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet, that is your spot right there for those GM performance parts. The crates. Everybody wants to get the crates. Not going to find a better deal than you're going to get there in Brandon, Mississippi. Best price in the country, even including the shipping, 602, 604s. They've got them sitting right there on the shelf, and they're going to get them to you. They're sealed like they're supposed to be. Supposed to be sealed. Once you get them in your hands, that's up to you what you do with them. But sealed, there's a QR code right there. Ryan Polk is my man over there, 601-824-5457, or polk at rogersdabs.com. Use that hashtag Dirty Air or hashtag Revved Up, and that's going to be something that'll help you out. Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet, those 604 engines, the GM crates that you all want to get your hands on. Not going to get them anywhere cheaper than my friends at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here with the Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to Victory Lane with Team GRC?
Back here live on the Revved Up Sports Show on a Monday evening. Good conversation with Chris Davidson. Good conversation with all of you, both on the text line and the. Well, actually, I'm used to the Saturday show. Both on the Facebook feed, on the Revved Up Facebook page, as well as on the Race on Texas Facebook feed as well. So good questions, good interactions. We love it. We like it. Keep on doing it.
Yeah, you guys tell us what you're thinking. I mean, there are so many different things that we're talking about, this evening. Talking about what Chris was talking about there, and I do go back to, the fan entertainment part. Back to the Russ Toe question. As to how do you balance all of this, because it's. And I can tell you, being working at the track, being, race announcer or for the PA, and doing for Race on Texas or Racing America or Pit Row TV, whatever it may be, when you're sitting there and nothing is happening, it's like really freaking uncomfortable. It's like, what do you do?
Well, what do you do? There's got to be dead air at certain points. Just
No.
Yeah, because you got to have it at certain occasions.
No. Never.
Because you still have to remember your people on the stand. Your people in the stands still need to be treated differently than your online audience.
I love you, but I've been taught never dead air.
Not on an internet broadcast. You can't have dead air. But in the grandstands, there's two different. You got to cater to two different people.
I think we just hugged for the first time on this show.
No. We've been on for almost 6 years. I'm sure we've done it before.
I totally get what you're saying, but it's that's that balance right there to where,
and it's a hard balance.
It really is, and that's to where it's so hard doing these shows nowadays because it's like, okay, you've got the folks that are there spending the money, you know, buying hot dogs and doing all this stuff, and this is really where it hit home to me on Friday at Waco, because it's like, okay, what do I do now? I mean, we had an hour and 20-minute intermission.
That's rough. It's almost as bad as an hour that you use in Houston.
Yeah, and that's where I come back to. I mean, and Houston is a great example. I mean, I not that I have anything to do with what they're going to do this weekend, but I'm like, all these inverts and all this shit, we don't need to be doing that. People don't care about that. Invert 2 classes or whatever. I don't know. That attention span is what gets me these days.
Well, the attention span's short for everywhere. So,
and that's you know, we go back and looking at the Cup race yesterday. I mean, that's a great example. That was supposed to be the shortest race of the year, and it took how long?
Longer than the 600.
That's right. And it was, and that's where I go back to, you know, shit happens at the racetrack, and with connectivity and all this, there's lots of things that happen, and customer service, man, it's a bitch. It's tough.
It's rough.
It's tough. So I don't know.
Maybe we need workmen to set us straight.
Well, somebody needs to. I'm going to try to check out some of these posts right here. Let's see. Can't read them. But anyway, it all comes down to entertaining folks and letting them understand what's going on. And I think that's the biggest part of where racetracks struggle from time to time is, okay, here's what we're doing. We're going to pause here for 30 minutes. Here's what we're doing.
Yeah, well,
and a lot of times it's like, here's what we're doing, and it's like nothing.
Yeah, well, I get you there too. So
I don't know. Your thoughts on the Cup race yesterday before Workman comes on?
I missed part of it because I was at the pool because the rain delay didn't last as long as I thought my pool day was going to last.
This guy's getting a tan. He's over there getting a tan.
Over there getting a tan. Yeah.
Licking fly.
Trying to get the beach body ready for the beach here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's right. Looking good. So here's, I think, where we're in a pickle with NASCAR is you have Austin Dillon saying, well, Austin Cindric needs to be banned because
now everybody's going to...
He rubbed on me, dude.
This is my topic for Saturday is now everybody, I got right reared. Park their ass.
Every freaking week.
It's going to happen every single time. Now, NASCAR was in a slippery slope. I get that they had to do that to Bubba Wallace because he turned down 5 damn lanes. They had to do it to Chase Elliott too.
Both of them.
But I think that the incident between Cindric and Dillon was a racing deal. 2 cars, same spot, boom, it happens.
Totally. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And that's where, you know, I think we both sit there and defend NASCAR as much as possible, probably more than we should, simply because we think that it's a driving force for what we do on the short track side.
Mm-hmm.
But it that right there, I mean, when we start getting into every week, somebody's going to say, wow, he turned into me. Man, no. That to me is where, for the folks that don't like NASCAR, when they start talking about these guys being a little whatever, Dillon right there to me is being a little whatever. That was racing. These other guys, have they pulled up the STT or data, whatever?
SMT data?
No. Well, and I'm sure that they're not going to, because that was racing. And, I mean, you see that every weekend at a short track. And
I mean, he turned left because they were going into the corner.
Right. And to me, that's one of those things to where if it's going to get into a pissing, bitching match every week about, wow, he turned into me. No, that's not the intent of what we plan for this to be.
Well, I mean, it's not, but it's the slippery slope that NASCAR has it on, and they opened up the can of worms with it. I think the SMT data helps out some, but it's also not a be-all, end-all with it either. I don't think. But I think it definitely has to be a unique situation. It's kind of like, even we talked about it that we watched the video from Race on Texas with the guy that got right reared over at 105 and then got run over and flipped over, right? It's like, what the hell? Boom. And it's like, well, I mean, it happens. You don't try to right rear somebody on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, things happen, and that's part of the deal right there. I mean, you're gonna touch each other. I mean, you're gonna bounce off each other. I mean, that's what we do. That's why we call it stock car racing. And they have fenders and all that, and it is what it is. But anyway, whatever. That's another discussion for another day and a mainstream show.
Yeah, our other show.
Yeah. To the hotline. Very excited right here. I'm going to tell you one thing. I sit here and I watch and listen to racing shows all around the country. And, being a half-ass announcer myself, as you are, Bobby, I like to listen to guys that do a really bang-up job and do things that are really special. And I-37 has one of the best, in my opinion, not in the state, in the country, that gets out there and takes care of business. Super excited. First time on the program, Mr. Chris Workman. Chris, how we doing, sir?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. That's high praise. I really appreciate that.
Man, so Chris, talk about this for you. It really seems like when you get out there and you have a lot of pride in your job, my man. And I think to me that's the biggest part. I mean, you love what you do. Your crowd loves you. Isn't that a pretty cool thing right there when you got those folks just living on every word you're about to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something I ever thought that I would be in, but as circumstances happened, I wanted to be involved with racing, and this is a way that there was a need at the track, and I felt that I could fill that need, and here we are. So yeah, it's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, Chris, it's weird. I don't think a lot of us that are in the profession now ever thought we'd end up doing what we do now. I mean, I never thought that I would go from the kid in the grandstands to the voice behind the mic for a generation and a half of race car drivers. So it's good that you learn to feel the need. But so far, I mean, you've done one hell of a good job down at I-37. We've got a chance to listen to you over the course of the last couple of years, and you've really done a great job. Pretty much on your own. You didn't sit with any of us. You didn't have any mentors like we had. And so, you've done a hell of a job coming in on your own, and I think it's showing more and more with each broadcast that you do.
Yeah, for sure. I've had a lot of mentors, shall we say. I've been an avid fan of racing for a long time, and obviously live and on TV and stuff like that. So, if you've been in it for so long, you know what good sounds like, and you just sort of try to replicate that and do it in your own way, in a way that works for you, and that's what I've done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris, talk about I think one of the things that is so great about where you are at 37, you guys have a great management, folks, with Ray and everybody there, and the car count is always good, and you guys pack the bleachers and all that. I mean, talk about that. The racetrack that you work at is like kick ass, one of the best that you're going to find around.
Yeah, for sure. The guys that we have are trying their best all the time. They're always looking for ways to improve, and I think that's a mentality that's sort of hard to find. You get people that get into a rhythm and they stop looking for ways to make things better.
Yep.
But Chris and Ray and Mike and all the guys at I-37, they're always looking to improve, always looking to make things better, and that's shown in the past few years, but especially this year, with the racing that we've had on the track, with the crowds that have shown up. Mother Nature has fought against us for 4 of the past 6 races. We've had some sort of precipitation, and yet we're still out here slugging away and looking forward to the rest of the season.
That's right.
So, Chris, in terms of the announcing, as you got more used to it, is there a class that you like calling more? We all that special class that we want to call our own class that we like the most. I love calling the factory stock races there at Texana, because the guys put on such a great show, and even the hobby stock races are a lot of fun too, because that's where you get the the mix of the old gang and the new gang trying to come together and race like that. So, what do you have a special class, or hell, you're just getting started and you love them all?
Well, I want to highlight too. So number one, this year I-37 has put together a class that we call the Fireball class.
Yep.
And it's kind of like old school street stocks, right? None of this new stuff like, racing parts that are, specifically special for racing. It's all stuff that you can get at the parts store. And you could probably get into this class for even cheaper than what you would build a factory stock for. So I'm super excited about this class. It's growing. Last Saturday we had 7 cars out there, and they put on an awesome show. Bobby Jack and Matthew Hodge just absolutely tore up the track, and it was great to watch. So I'm looking forward to that class in the future and moving forward, hoping to get more Fireballs out there. And of course, check out the rules on the I-37 website. You'd be surprised at what you find in the rules there. But for me personally, I'm a late model guy. I got to admit, watching dirt late models is so much fun for me. And it's such a challenge because everything's happening so fast. And to try to, spit it out of your mouth on what exactly is happening and who's doing what on the track, it's a challenge. And it's super exciting. It gets your adrenaline going,
Yeah, man. I got to tell you, I get a lot more excited at times behind the mic than I ever did, behind the wheel. And talk about that part for you. Obviously, we know it's been you landed in this situation not by your own choosing, but talk about that part, because we're going to blast this out, to a lot of folks that are going to find you and that are going to be, fans of yours. Talk about how you wound up being a race announcer when you actually hadn't planned for that to be your path in this sport.
Yeah. This whole racing adventure kind of started back in 2010 with the resurgence of San Antonio Speedway.
Yep.
I wanted to move from being a spectator, lifelong spectator, to actually participating. So I went out and tried to find a car and stuff like that. And it took me a few years to finally get everything together. Unfortunately, we didn't make the end of the resurgence of San Antonio Speedway. I didn't get to race there, but we were so close. We were literally, almost putting a car on the trailer to get to the track for the last race, but we ended up missing it. But from there, rules changes and stuff, car changes. I finally got to get a car underneath me that was stable, that I could actually drive at Shady Oak Speedway in Goliad. And I got a half a season there, a couple races under my belt, and then I got a full season at I-37 Speedway up until November 4th, 2017. November 4th, 2017, that Saturday night, everything went really well, and that was kind of my last time in a race car, in a full-bodied race car anyway. Yeah. November 5th, 2017, mass shooting in Sutherland Springs, Texas. I was involved with that, took a bullet to the spine, became a paraplegic, and sort of had to navigate things from there. So I'm permanently in a wheelchair, and the racing community was so kind to me when all of that went down. They rallied behind me. They put on, races in my name and raised funds for me at all different tracks all around South Texas. And I was just so touched by that I wanted to stay plugged into the racing community any way that I could, and especially with my home track. So, when the need arose to be an announcer, I said, well, I've never done it before, but I'll certainly give it a try. You guys have done so much for me. I'll do what I can to, get back to the track. And that's kind of how it started.
That's a sad story, but a great story. Like I said, we all have our own path to get there. In terms of your racing announcing, I know that me personally, I didn't race all that long, but I went from the grandstands to the announcing portion and then into the racing seat. I always felt like I became a better announcer after I got a season and a half of racing under my belt. So does the fact that you got to drive for that limited period, whether it be Shady Oaks or even at I-37, does that make you feel like you have a better mindset to be a better announcer?
Yeah, I would say so. I consider myself a consistent student. I'm always wanting to learn about, racing and rules and the different classes and, the different ways that you accomplish things. Because just for my own understanding, but secondarily, it's going to make me a better announcer because then I can speak to those things as they're happening on the track. And I think, keeping the crowd engaged on a technical level is something that you can do to keep people abreast of what the rules are and, how the classes are different, what makes, the interesting differences between the cars and stuff and how you run the track, how a dirt track changes every time you come to the track. And it's different from asphalt because it's not the same track every night. So it's extra challenging, all of that stuff is, I think it's interesting. So consistently being a student and, even getting on iRacing, how I do now, like I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to tune a car. I'm still learning how to drive a car. So even if I get back into a car in the future, it'll all help moving forward.
Yeah. And Chris, the one thing that I'm so impressed, when I listen to you is you do talk about that. I mean, you talk about that as someone that has been on the track and understands, what's going on. Talk about, one of the things that when folks ask me about being an announcer or broadcaster or whatever, you still have to prepare. It you can talk about being a racer, you got to get ready for the race and blah blah blah. To do this job the way that I like to do it, I prepare way too fucking much, and I'm sorry for that language, but and it seems that you do the same thing because you get on that mic, dude, and you're saying stuff that it's like, okay, this dude has done his work. You seem to take a lot of pride in what you're doing.
Yeah, I do for sure. A lot of it is just staying plugged in to the racing community and absorbing information as you come across it. God has given me a good memory, thankfully. So, I can remember things and little bits of information as I come across it.
Yep.
To your point of the question of the day of, how do you fill that time? Well, that's one of the ways is that you come across this information from all the racers, from their like posts on Facebook and stuff like that. And you just speak to it. You talk to these guys and you see what they're doing in the race shops. You see how they've, put a new wrap on their car or stuff like that. And you just talk about it. You just talk them up as much as possible and keep people plugged into the different storylines that are happening off into the pits that they may not know about.
Yeah.
I think one of the most fun things, Chris, that Roddy and I like to do, I know it's more for me, is that the way that we can create a hero and a villain in one lap in a race car. And when I say villain, I don't mean a bad guy. I don't mean that in a bad way to a certain race car driver, right? But you can make somebody from a hero to a zero in one single lap. And I think, and I've seen you do that at I-37, and it's great the way that sometimes it organically happens. But I also think that it's just one of those pretty cool deals to where it's like, that's what makes the job so much fun is when you get a chance to do something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the racers make it easy, especially with the racing action that we've got at I-37. So that's one part of it. But just watching what's going on, knowing where these racers have come from, knowing the struggles of hey, this racer has been at the back of the pack for 4 or 5 weeks, struggling with gremlins in his car, and now all of a sudden he's up front. Like remembering that little tidbit of information and presenting it to people, sort of draws out those storylines that you like to see. And, another challenge of it is
my own racetrack trying to be there, but your authenticity is so cool. It's coming off really great tonight and it comes off really good on the broadcast. And I think truly that's what draw the people to I-37 and draw them to you is you're the same guy on the mic as you are in person having a beer, whatever the case may be. So don't ever change that, dude. That's really awesome. And that's really cool. Cause even I find myself sometimes not being near as authentic as I need to be as I try to self grade myself sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little strange. I am a bit of an introvert. People wouldn't know that about me unless I actually tell you.
Oh my God. I knew I loved you. I knew I loved you, dude. I knew I loved you.
I can't be anything other than me. It's just who I am. And I couldn't change it if I wanted to. So, but I appreciate that other people enjoy that about me.
Yeah. And Chris, I do want to ask you before we cut you loose, man, and thank you for jumping on here, man. This has been a lot of fun. talk about your race staff right there. When you work for a team like you have at 37, you mentioned them, but man, always improving. I mean, it's like something happens, there's a hiccup, they fix it, and that's I've worked for a lot of race promoters, and you know, I've always told them when we screw up, we need to get better, and that really seems to be the thing there at 37. Man, you guys are like hitting home runs on this thing. Even handling the rain out the other day. I mean, that was so cool the way y'all did that.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, we just sort of roll with the punches and try to think on our feet as much as we can, but like, you know, after working together for a few years, I think we all realized that number one, we're all on the same team.
Yep.
Like the goal is to grow racing, period. So we're not out here to compete with other tracks. You know, we're obviously proud of what we do, but
Right.
But you know, we come here to grow racing in our area. So you know, information exchange is open. We're good at, you know, giving and receiving feedback about how we can improve and how we need to make things better. So our team has really learned how to do that well. And there's a large amount of understanding that happens between us when we're saying, hey, we could do better here. Hey, we could do better there. And yeah, just that free open information exchange when you have a good team is priceless. You know, with Chris and Ray and Michael, like I mentioned them before, they're just in that mindset of always wanting to improve, and you got to have that.
Yeah, no doubt. Chris, you are the man. You're making us all look bad around here, I hope you know, because you are so damn good.
No.
Yeah.
Dude,
the prep work, that makes me want to have to prepare a little bit more on that next race coming up on the 24th.
You are the man, my friend. Man, I'm proud of what you're doing, and I check in every time that you're going to be on the air right there on Race on Texas. I want to hear your work because, man, you are so damn good at what you do. And
welcome to the fraternity, man. It's
keep
always
slaying
good.
Keep
It's
slaying
always
it.
good to have another race announcer brother out there, and you do a hell of a job.
No,
so welcome
yeah.
to the fraternity,
Yeah,
man.
Chris, nobody ever wants to do this job. And then you get a guy like you that comes in and makes us all look bad. And I'm like, well, shit, what happened here? So,
I think I just have a little bit of, you know, fresh eyes and fresh perspective on it. But, you know, we're all different in the way that we do things. But, yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's a good thing. Very good thing. I'd love to do a show with you sometime soon, hopefully. So let's put that in the memory bank. And thanks for checking in on Revved Up, my man. Keep slaying, dude. You're doing a great job.
For sure. Looking forward to it. Have me back anytime. Appreciate
bet,
you guys.
You bet. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You bet. There he goes. That I tell you, that guy. I mean, the whole way that it happened for him is one thing, but it's he's really good.
He's got that. We've talked about it before. He's got that it factor. Some people get behind a microphone and it sounds like a mannequin with a tape deck, like an old Teddy Ruxpin trying to talk. But Chris has really come in and done an outstanding job, you know, honing the craft and learning the craft. And like we said, it's good to add another announcer to the rolling collection of the announcers that we have now, because they're few and far between. There's not a lot of us to go around.
You know,
I-37 hit a home run with Chris.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they got the best guy. I mean, Milton's good. I mean, you're good. I'm good. Or decent. You know, whatever. And Colin Bell. I mean, we got all these guys that are really good. But this dude is he's green. I mean, he just started doing this, and he jumps in and does this, and I'm like, holy shit. I mean, this is kind of like one of those things to where, you know, if you're like a music lover, you know, I got my Taylor on tonight because you've got your
Vegas Golden Knights.
You got the Golden Knights on, so I'm doing my Tay-Tay. But it's one of those things to where you sit there and you listen, and it's like, because I
need to check the score, actually.
You guys let me announce with you guys, you know, back in the day, but
we did. I mean, you know,
I never had someone that I went to. I mean, I listened to Ken Squire, I listened to Dave Moody, I listened to Barney Hall, and all these different people, or whatever. But and I think this guy is like fucking dove in, and he's as good as anybody. And that's, that's what's
And he can hang with any of us, actually, and outshine us too.
He's like better than us. That's the whole thing to me. It's like when every now and then you hear him, you hear a song, you hear something, and it's like, whoa. And I hear him doing his job, and I'm like, this guy is really good, and I'm jealous. I mean, I'm jealous because he does a great job. He does a great job, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Chris Workman.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally got him on. We've been trying to get him on for a while, and schedules don't always work, but it's good to finally get him on and talk to him and tell him what a damn good job he's doing down there.
He's really good. He's really good, and he's with a great bunch of people there, and doing great work. So Chris, keep that stuff up. All right, going back to the hotline for the final time tonight. Asphalt racing in Houston this weekend. $1,500 to win as we go to the truck race here in Houston, and heading back to Houston. One of the fan favorites. I know Isaiah is going to be glad to see this guy out there. Back at HMP, back in his old stomping grounds, the showstopper, Jake Wright, joining us on the hotline. Showstopper, how we doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, Jake. So, your thoughts? I mean, I know you guys, had plans on doing stuff, but going home, that's got to be kind of bittersweet, in a sense.
No, man, it's sweet all the way around. I'm excited to be back. I'm really just glad to be racing, Rodney.
Yeah.
It's been a long year for me so far. I'm just ready to get back behind the wheel.
No doubt.
So I'm really excited for my team. I think we're gonna do pretty good. I'm liking our chances. So
I love it.
So Jake, how much have you had to change your mindset between when you were dead set on running in other places, and you had to kind of change the program for that and change the setup and all that? Now you're going back home. Is it something just as easy as pulling out the old notebook and saying, well, hell, we kicked their ass with this setup. Why don't we just put it back in? Or is it a constant evolving process? Because when you miss a race or two down there, somebody finds a way to jump ahead.
Right. No, you're 100% correct. I'm not really sure what we're going to get into this weekend. I know we're going to stick to the plan that we always plan for is when we go to Houston. When we were originally set up for Mobile, but obviously we making the transition for the setup back to HMP. So we'll see. I really don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. So,
yeah. No doubt. And the thing about that, Jake, I mean, you guys you're coming back. I mean, and it just kind of fell into place. Now you got extra money. So, the showstopper coming back, with Polero putting that extra money in there, that it's got to be pretty cool right
awesome.
there, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool of him to do. Can't thank him enough. That is super super cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
No, that's really great for the series, and great for the track. It's that's too cool, man. That's
No doubt.
So Jake, you now I know you catch a show on occasion and sometimes listen a lot. We've been talking about these junior limiteds and how they're getting the mentorship that they need, and they're getting the on-track time that they need and stuff like that to help groom them into the next generation of racers. Now, back in the day, you had something similar to that with the TSRS deal and the legacies that you and Dylan Spring were doing, and you had the chance to hang out with Kruger, and now Kruger's a big part of your racing program. Did you feel like that back in the day, having a mentor like that was able to really mold you into the racer that you became today?
Oh, absolutely. That kind of thing is super important for the sport. Jay Kruger was my mentor in the TSRS back in the Kyle days. But yeah, I learned so much from him back then, and that goes a long way for drivers. Just getting that extra knowledge, getting that, just any advice you can, especially from guys that have been around and know what they're doing. So no, I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
And I do want to ask you, Jake. I mean, I know that it hadn't been that long, but it's been a minute, like you said. Since you've been in Houston, coming home. I mean, back down here. I mean, to see Isaiah and all these people that love you, and how exciting is that? I mean, I know that you guys. I mean, I talk to your dad more than you even believe, but with what you guys were planning to do this year, but getting to come home, dude. that right there, it's like that Wilkesboro thing coming home. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see Isaiah. I love that little guy. I know he's been begging for me to come back, and I'm glad that we can finally make that happen for him. And no, I can't wait to see everybody. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It really is. It's gonna be like a little homecoming.
No doubt.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
So in terms
Absolutely.
of the prep work, talk about your relationship with your dad. Different types of we had different types of relationships with our dad. Your dad's he's a truck owner. He puts a lot of money behind it. He pushes you on the racetrack, but he loves to have a good time because we've obviously had a lot of good times with your dad and Holiday in parking lot, and you two watched you go from when you couldn't drink to where you start out drinking all of us. So talk about the relationship you got with Bruce, because you guys have something pretty special.
Yeah, no, we have a really cool special relationship, man. He's like he's like my hero, man. I've always looked up to him ever since I was a little kid. We've done everything together, and I could write a book.
Yeah.
I could write a book.
Yeah.
But it's been so cool sharing this experience with him, and I'm looking forward to sharing similar experiences with my kid. It's just racing really brings the family together. That's what I love about it. It really it takes away all the pressure from everyday life, and it just it just helps everybody just come focus on one thing, and that's trying to win a race. And that's what I love about it, and that's what's really cool about it. So yeah.
And Jake, talk about that, because as long as we've been doing this, I mean, I remember you being little Jake, but now you're a dad. I mean, and my kids this weekend turned 21 and 23, and to see that and kind of reflect back and see all that. Talk about how life changes you. Racing is still a passion that you have. You're always going to have it, but talk about how the years pass, and it's like, okay, well, I'm a different guy right now.
Yeah, having kids definitely matures you. That's for sure.
Yes.
So you definitely have to grow up and put all that other stuff behind. But yeah, no, it's crazy how time changes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. No doubt. So talk about the plan for you guys this weekend. I mean, to come on back out here. I know that you guys had gone to the half-mile setup. I mean, you had gone back in and did different things, whether it be Pensacola, Mobile, whatever, to put that 3/8 mile setup back in there. I mean, is it going to be, in your opinion, is it going to be just as good as it was before? Or, man, that's tricky. That's tricky going back to doing this again.
I'm hoping so. I mean, we've been really fortunate. Every time we put it back on, it's been pretty solid for us. So I'm hoping it's going to be pretty solid for us this time around. I'm really not sure, Rodney, but we're going to see.
Yeah, I guess we'll all find out on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll all find out on Saturday.
Yeah.
Hey, so I got a question for you. Obviously, you know how we do the show, where we start popping up the pictures of the cars as you guys start to talk. We got a picture of the truck, and I love the wrap on it, but it's so much different than what we're used to seeing.
That is way different.
Way different than what we're used to seeing in the Showstopper. Is it just you went to the wrap place and said, come up with something different, or did you say, I want something different? Talk about the wrap, dude.
Yeah, man, I really like orange and blue. I really always thought that stood out. And I gave it to Jeremy Little. Shout out to them. They did a great job with the design, and man, it came out great. It really pops. Me and my dad put the wrap on it, so when you're up close, it's like ooh. But
yeah,
hey, it's gonna be from on the track, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, it looks fast. I mean the numbers push back.
As long as it looks fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Be ready. That some bitch might have a revved up sticker on it. Somebody
Yeah,
might happen to place that on there at some point.
Yeah.
But
Have to do that.
yeah. Looking forward to it, dude. I'm so glad that we get to race at home again. We get to do this, and you're coming home. So I do want to ask you. So hopefully you'll be back for the rest of the year in Houston. But what all are you guys planning on doing beyond what this weekend?
We're definitely going to run Houston some more. We might run Tucson once, and we may or may not do the Derby this year. That's kind of pending, but just right now, I guess we're just kind of focusing on Houston, just kind of having fun, man. Just kind of getting on the track. That's kind of all I'm focusing on. So whatever we can get, I'll take it.
That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Dial it back and just have a good time, my man. I'll see you this weekend, dude. Go out there and get it, dude. Glad you're coming home, man. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you all for having me on.
You bet.
Really appreciate it.
All right, man. See you later.
Take care.
Thanks.
You bet. There goes. Showstopper Jake Wright. Always a good time when they show up.
Yeah. Isn't it just crazy though how much we've seen him grow up? Does it make you feel old? I mean, I know
Yes.
with the kiddos going
Yes.
21 and 23,
It doesn't
made you feel
take
old
much.
anyway. But I mean, seeing him and Dylan Spreen go from the young kids that they were when they did the whole mentorship with
Dude,
the older stuff. Man,
I
it's like-
remember I think one of the first years that you and I worked together, we did TSRS and they had the legacies and whatever it was, and it was him, it was Jake, it was Dylan, Kruger was in there, the Dallenbacks.
Mhm.
I mean, to go back and think about that and see how how they continue to race and do that, and we're here doing this. It's like man, it makes me feel old, but at the same time, it makes me feel proud because they have done a really good job. They have done a really good job, and I do think like with him, let's take him for example, Jake.
5 years ago, he couldn't talk.
Dude, I think that you and I have helped a lot of these kids, and continue to do this, with Caden Petty and Mason Warren and all these folks that come on right here. We are helping them because they have to do this.
Yeah, you can't just sit there and twiddle your thumbs on TikTok all the time.
That's right.
You got to start talking to people. That's how you get your sponsors mentioned. That's how you get new sponsors. That's how it works. 5 years ago, Jake wouldn't even talk to. Well, actually, I guess it'd be more like 10 years ago. He was hard to get words out of, and talking to him at the racetrack in Victory Lane and different stuff like that. And then he's matured over the course of the years on this show.
Jake was, and full disclosure, Jake was always one. We give him 2 Miller Lights, and he's like, blah, 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 talking away. But it's one of those things to where, and I tell kids all the time, learn that part, learn to do what he just did right there, and be that spokesperson for your sport, for your team, for all of that. I mean, that is so important, and I really think that him coming home, it hadn't been that long. I mean, it's been year and a half, but him coming home, that's a big deal.
It's going to add an extra element of excitement in that race.
I think so, and I think that this weekend in Houston is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I like the fact that Owen is doing things right there. That Owen, I'm sorry, I love Owen. He does a lot of really good things for both of us and for the whole sport. And I think that this weekend is going to be something that's going to be pretty special, I think.
Well, it's good to see the racers in Houston buying into it. We talk about it all the time. That's what it takes. You have to buy into the promoter's vision. And we've got to find a way to get everybody to start buying into the vision of Houston to be like it used to be. Will we hit the glory days that it once was? Maybe not. Probably not. But can we get enough people in there to support that thing to come back for the rest of 2023 and again in 2024? I think so. It's just got to get the right mixture there.
Yeah. I do want to go back to talking about, this whole show, with Davidson, with what he's doing right there. Obviously, I know the Davidson family. I love them. I mean, that's my, family. I'm the only Mexican in their family, for crying out loud. But the fact that Chris and them I mean, doing what they're doing, giving back to Houston, I think that's so important. And that was tough. I'm going to tell you something right now. I know that, because Chris was a big part of, with Gulf Coast, with everything that was going on right there. And, whatever happened with that, it was one of those things to where Chris was like, I want to continue to give back where I can. He had nothing to do with any of that shit. But, I just think it's great that they are involved. I mean, when you say Davidson Electric Outlaws in Houston, that's a big damn deal.
It just works. It just feels right.
Yeah, it does. It does. And talking to, right here, Chris Workman, that dude, that's a hero to me for a lot of reasons. Obviously, the great work that he does. You heard a little bit of the backstory right there about how that all happened, but This guy's really good at what he does.
Yeah, he's come a long way in a short period of time, and it shows.
And it was one of those things to where it he picked up that mic the first time, and it was like magic. It was like boom, boom, there it is, and he I-37. You got one of the best, and you some bitches are lucky because he's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good. Race on Texas, folks. You were good because you got a good dude right there. Your week. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Just trying to stay loose. I hadn't finalized
loose.
Oh. I hadn't finalized the deal with Mike Knotts to race that legacy car. So I probably should have done a better job of that. But if I can't do it this one, I'll work on the July 4th weekend show to try to race that legacy car. Then I'm gonna wait till it gets real hot before I try to decide to do it again. So.
Oh, I would do it now. I wouldn't do it before it gets too hot.
Well, I am out of shape.
Well,
lose a couple of pounds.
You're in good shape. You're round.
I'm round. I look like a pear with legs.
I love this guy. This is my best buddy. I like to give him hell. But you guys, seriously, June 24th at Texana, we're going to have a good time out there. I'm going to get out there and race the 35 Nova there with those guys that are going to whip my ass. But I think that's going to be a good weekend.
Everybody's got 6 weeks to prepare, so.
That's right. Don't tell them that. Show up. Just show up.
Just show up and have a good time. That's what that night's going to be about.
Yeah.
Well, a little more competitive for you, but everybody else just be trying to have a good time.
I know. It was like, I was talking to Monty and them, and they're like, just go have fun. I'm like, I ain't having fun unless I'm fucking winning or close to winning.
No, if you're not sniffing the front, then you're not going to have a good time.
I'm trying to get in shape. I'm trying to get myself a little more, whatever.
I got nothing. I got nothing, dude.
I love this guy. All right, guys.
At your age, any kind of shape is good, so.
Any shape and any action is good at my age because I'm old. He's not as old as I am.
Not quite there yet, but.
All right.
And the shit show rolls on.
Right on. All the podcasts, RevvedUpSportsShow.com. You guys check in, and don't forget, we'll do the Saturday show and all that good stuff. He's Bobby. I'm Rodney. We're out of here. We're doing it again next Monday. You guys be good.